So after a year's gap, Barclays have returned with a new bank switching offer worth 175 quid, which is pretty much par for the course right now, what the banks are offering. Actually, it is joint highest that Barclays has ever offered. I will take you through how to get it. But first of all, let's just clear up who can get it. And this is something we're seeing more and more now with the banks. Not only does this offer rule out anyone who's previously had switching money from Barclays, but it also rules out anyone who's ever had a Barclays account. The terms and conditions actually say you cannot have opened a Barclays current account on or before the 15th of July 2025. Now, it doesn't say whether that means you've opened it and you've still got it. It just says opened. And last year, the terms and conditions were very clear. If you had one open since that date, actually live, being used. This one just says open. So sadly, that means if you've ever had a Barclays account in the past, even if it's been closed down or you're already a Barclays customer, you're not going to get this money. So the fact that if you've ever had switching money from Barclays before rules you out is kind of a bit pointless, because if you've had an account with them anyway, to open that switching deal, then you would be ruled out anyway. So sadly, that might rule out a lot of you. However, despite Barclays being one of the biggest banks here in the UK with a huge number of customers, it doesn't run these switching deals very often. So if you are someone who is relatively new to the switching game, or even has been doing the repeating switch after switch after switch after switch, but never had a Barclays account just generally like back in the day, you could still well be able to get the money here. So how do you do it and how quickly do you do it? Well, first of all, it's worth sharing with you. Remember, over at becleverwithyourcash.com/banks, we've got a guide to all the switching deals, and from there you can click through and read the full analysis with all the extra details. So just double check everything that you've heard from me say today is correct. Obviously, you can check that on the Barclays website as well. But this one is a relatively fast paying account. Within 28 days of completing the switch, a switch can take 7 working days is the fastest that can happen. So you're looking at about 5 to 6 weeks in order to get this money. So that's a pretty fast one when it comes to all the switching deals. As we discussed, it's not open to existing customers. So how do you get it if you're a newbie? What do you do? Well, it's very important that when you apply for the current account, you do this via the Barclays app. So you have to download that one first of all and apply via that. You cannot do it if you go via the website. You cannot do it if you go via branch. Has to be via the Barclays app. And then you've got 2 different current accounts that you can open. You've got a choice there. You've got the bank account, which is their standard current account, but a boring name for it, but just the bank account, or the Premier current account. Okay, they're your 2 options there. Now, if you open up the bank account, that one itself has no frills, no extras, but it also has no fees. But you do have to add on something called Blue Rewards. I'll come back to that in a bit more detail later on. If you go for the Premier current account, that one has its own conditions as well. So you've got we'll talk about those in a minute, different accounts, but you have to open up one of those 2 accounts. No other account will qualify you for this switching deal. You then need to, once you've opened the account, you need to start the switch, and you need to complete that switch within 30 days of opening the account. And I said, you can do that within 7 working days at its fastest, so that's not going to be too much of an issue. Now, as part of that switch, you need to switch over 2 active direct debits. Now, we talked about this before. Every time we talk about a switching deal, I talk about when they do require an active direct debit, exactly what that means. It's a grayish area, kind of what is active. Does it mean the money has to have been paid out of the account? Does it just mean it has to be there on the account? I always like to err on the side of caution. You might be fine without this, but I like to have one which the money has gone out of the old account that you're switching from previously. Now, if you're moving over an account you use every day, that's not going to be a problem, because you're bound to have a couple of direct debits in there which have been going out month after month after month. If you're using a dummy account, and remember, a dummy account is one that you set up with the express purpose of using it for switching deals. You don't use it anytime, really. You just use it to switch, or maybe it's an old one that you switched into for the cash and you've got it sitting there because you don't use it. You've still got your main account elsewhere. And then you might need to set up some extra direct debits on that account before you do it. The fastest thing you can do there, and I've got an article and a video, and I've covered it in the podcast as well, taking you through these free and fast direct debits you can set up. So when I say free, what I basically mean is you're paying yourself, or you're paying for a service that you are going to use. And when I say paying yourself, it's like moving direct debit, moving money into your credit card or your savings or things like that. Again, so check that all out. And there's some really quick ones you can do there to make sure you get those in place so they can come out of your account. So you can still complete, remember, you need to complete that whole switch within 30 days of opening the account. Obviously, you can delay starting the switch of this as well if you want a little bit more time for those direct debits to come in and bed in. So really important you do that as part of the switch. You also make sure, as you do all of these, the switch needs to come from a different bank. which obviously you'd know that anyway, because if you can't get this offer, if you're already a Barclays customer, then you wouldn't be switching from Barclays into Barclays. Okay, so from a completely different bank. The other thing you need to do as part of the switching deal is paying £1,500 into your new current account by the 28th of August 2025. You can do this in one go. You can do this in multiple accounts. It doesn't say it has to be in one go. It doesn't say the money has to stay there. So you could put in £500 in and out 3 times if you wish. That should be absolutely fine to do that there. Now that is the process for the switch itself. Okay. Once you have done all of that, as I say, you will wait a little bit of time for the money to come through, 28 days after your switch has completed itself, and you'll get the money through pretty quickly. Now let's look at those 2 different current accounts to help you decide which one to go for if you are new to Barclays. For most of you, it's going to be the Barclays bank account, because the Premier current account has quite a strict eligibility criteria. You need to earn either £75,000 a year and have that salary paid into your account, or you need to have £100,000 saved or invested with Barclays. And frankly, you can get highest interest rates on your savings and lower fees on your investing for most people elsewhere. And we've covered those best options for you over on becleverwithyourcash.com. So if you can't get the Premier current account, you're looking at the standard Barclays bank account. And this one requires you to add on Blue Rewards. Now, a revamp a couple of years ago meant you can no longer avoid that £5 a month fee that comes with Blue Rewards. So you are looking at extra paying for this account in order to qualify for that bonus. Now, since the offer here does end, the switching offer ends on the 28th of August, and it happens quite fast, within 6-7 weeks. If you wait to apply for the current account and starting the switch until the beginning of August, you should be able to complete it all by towards the end of September, which means the most you'll pay is £10, 2 lots of £5. And then obviously you can downgrade, stop the Blue Rewards, but keep the bank account alive underneath if you want to keep it for switching things later on, whatever it might be. But you do have to wait until you receive that switching cash before you do that. Now, for those 2 months where you are paying £5 a month, and I say do wait, because if you start it in July and don't finish it until September, then that's 3 lots of £5. If you, for those 2 months, that £5, it gets you a couple of things which are okay, but it's worth sharing with you. One of them is free Apple TV Plus. Now, there are loads of deals. Since Apple TV launched, I think during 2019, 2020, something like that, I've had it for free, if not for the full year, at least half the year. Loads of offers always running. Although, to be fair, there haven't been as many of those that I've spotted in the last 3 or 4 months. So maybe that might be the end of those things. But broadly speaking, yes, you can get it free. Well, free for those £5 a month with Blue Rewards, but you could also get it for free elsewhere in other places, although it is worth $8.99 if you were going to pay for it. And there's also a 4.61% paying rainy day saver. This one, again, you can beat that right now. It's only on balance up to £5,000. And over on becleverwithyourcash.com/savings, we have got details of all those different accounts which are better than that. So yes, you get this with Blue Rewards, but frankly, it's not worth it. You're only be looking at it, I would say, in order to help you qualify for that £175. Incidentally, I should say as well that if you do go for the Premier current account, you will get that Apple TV and you'll get that rainy day saver as well without that £5 a fee every month. Now, it is worth saying, alongside that £5 a month, you also need to be paying £800 into the account every single month with Blue Rewards and be registered for the Barclays app. But you would have done that anyway, because that's how you open the account in the first place. So there you go. That is the latest £175 bank switching offer from Barclays. Very quickly, a roundup of what other offers are available to you right now. Again, remember, details of these all over at becleverwithyourcash.com/banks. First Direct is also offering £175 with the potential to get an extra 30 or 35 quid if you go via a cashback site. Lloyds Bank is offering £185 for their Club Lloyds account. NatWest is offering up to £175, and Santander is offering £180. And again, there is the option to potentially get another 20 quid-ish if you apply it via a cashback site. And for those Premier customers, HSBC still has that £500 Selfridges voucher offer available. Remember, becleverwithyourcash.com/banks for information about all of those offers. My name's Andy Webb. Thanks so much for watching. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.